guess what?
What?
We're back.
Woohoo!
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
You're listening to the Date Night Horror Show with Enzo and Reyna, where love and terror meet.
Hello, I'm Enzo.
And I'm Reyna.
And this is the Date Night Horror Show. I'm so glad we're back, Reyna.
I know, I feel like it's been forever.
It has been forever. So, yeah, we both lead really, really crazy lives.
Yeah.
We love doing this podcast, but sometimes it's hard to find time to do it and do it well.
The flu season kind of kicked our butts.
Flu season kicked our butt. I was sick what felt like the longest time. And then, of course, we had the holidays and everything that comes with the holidays. So it made things a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But we're back.
We're here.
And we're back with a really cool review of a really cool movie that we just saw. Mm-hmm. The 2020 remake of The Invisible Man, starring Elizabeth Moss.
Yes.
So,
I love Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah, that's going to be our feature review for this episode. And we're super excited to talk about it. We're going to have a main review portion and then also a spoiler zone portion so we can dig a little deeper. And I'm super excited to talk about it. How about you?
I am too. I'm excited about it, yeah.
But before we do that, I think we should recap to our listeners what we've been up to. And, even though we've been off the air for a while, we're still watching a lot of horror movies.
My gosh.
And we're still going to a lot of horror events.
Yep.
So I figured we could recap that stuff.
Sounds good.
I think the first thing that pops into my head is the Krampus Ball.
Oh my God, we didn't talk about the Krampus Ball?
I don't think we did.
Oh, wow.
So, because, in December, I don't think we were so busy with the holidays and the Krampus Ball and things like that, we haven't talked about it. Do you want to talk about what that was and what we did? Yeah.
So, there's a place here called Alpine Village, which is a really cool, it's a German-themed village.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And sadly, they're going to close down most of it pretty soon here. But I'm glad we got to go. I'm sure they'll move the Krampus Ball, but I'm really happy we got to. We've been wanting to go to the Krampus Ball for a few years now, but it sells out so fast, like super quickly.
It's funny, too, because last year I wanted to go, or the previous year I wanted to go, and I told myself when they sold out, I was like, this is not going to happen again. I'm going to find out. And I'm gonna buy these tickets in December or in October if I need to, which is exactly what I did. I bought them in late October.
Because once they go on sale, it doesn't take very long for them to sell out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because in the hall that this Krampus Ball is held, it's pretty big. I mean, it's not small.
Yeah.
It was packed to the gills.
It was packed and it was awesome. For
fun.
anyone who doesn't know who Krampus is like an early version of the Santa Claus myth that's been around for a long, long time in Germanic cultures, in Austrian cultures and things like that, and even Swedish cultures. He's like this goat man, and he's sort of like a boogeyman character. So it's kind of the opposite of Santa. Right. If you're bad, he's going to come and he's going to get you and he's going to eat you.
Right.
And
it's cool.
If you've never seen what a Krampus looks like, go ahead and Google it. It is amazing.
The versions of it are really cool to see.
Yes, and we've even dressed like Krampus in the past.
Well, you have.
Yeah. Well, you and our friend Alex, you guys are my helpers, but I have done a Krampus costume before.
Krampus elves.
So this first Krampus ball, I didn't want to go as Krampus because I wanted to see how traditional and non-traditional the variations of the Krampus would be. Mm-hmm. And they were all over the place. So now I definitely want to dress like Krampus. But for this first Krampus ball, I dressed like a dark nutcracker. and Reyna and our friend Alex dressed like rag dolls, like evil rag dolls. And it was so much fun.
It was fun. There was a bunch of different bands that played. They had a Krampus parade, which was cool.
Yeah.
Everyone was really having a great time.
It was amazing.
Just really fun crowd.
Everyone was drunk.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine
I don't even know how, because the lines to get drink were so long, but...
So Halloween people...
It was crazy.
Which I know that our entire fan base is Halloween people. Imagine that. You go to a holiday festival, Christmas themed, everyone's dressed Christmas style, but then there's like this slight dark twinge to it. It was so much fun. Awesome. Yeah, it was now I understand why it always sells out. Yeah. It was great.
It was fun. It was so
cool. And there were all these different people dressed as Krampus. There were some Krampi that were 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like people wearing these costumes and not taking them off.
Yeah.
It was crazy. All covered in fur. It's funny because at a certain point during the ball, they announced the Krampi, the fact that they're going to come out. And so I like ran out. You guys were at the bar, and I ran out to the area where they were going to start coming out. And I shit you not, when they started coming out, it was like smelling a herd of cattle.
Ew, gross. I'm glad I stayed on the bar stool.
The fur, I could smell the sweaty fur from the first Krampi that came out. It was disgusting. Hysterical. And I thought to myself, man, I'm a hardcore costume guy, and I'll keep a costume on the entire night. You know that about me.
Yeah.
But these people were wearing like 40 pounds of, armor and horns.
It was crazy.
And I did not see a single Krampi take their stuff off.
No.
And it smells horrible. It was so cool, dude.
And it's cool because there were men, women, everybody dressed as their versions of Krampus. It was really cool. And like I said, the crowd was really nice. The staff was really nice.
What was cool about the crowd, it was rowdy. It was rowdy and drunk, but extremely friendly and festive. It was like a mixed crowd
of older people like our age, younger.
Yeah.
People from different countries.
Yeah, there were people from Austrian countries all over the place. I remember I'm just like this dark nutcracker, and I have this Napoleon style hat. And this woman comes up to me, this Austrian woman comes up to me, she's like, I do not understand why you're wearing a Napoleon costume. You should be Austrian. She's like, she said in full accent, right? And I'm like, oh no, I'm a nutcracker. I just happen to have a Napoleon, hat on. And it was so funny. And then she was like, oh, I understand now. Okay, cheers. She was cool. It was so much fun. It was as fun as a great Halloween night. It was
for sure.
That much fun.
Yeah, it was.
So if you guys, this is a tip. Look for the tickets in October.
In the LA area.
Los Angeles Krampus Ball.
Hopefully they'll find another venue. I'm sure they will.
Fantastic. Completely recommended it. It's so great. It's
a lot of fun.
Okay, so we did that in December. And then more recently, for Valentine's Day, we went to a...
Vampire Ball.
We went to the Los Angeles Vampire Ball. And that was equally as fun and awesome.
One thing.
What? What's wrong?
So the Vampire Ball was really fun. Always dressing up is fun. One of my favorite bands, Orgy, was playing, which... I mean, we would have gone anyway because we go every year.
Yeah.
I was super excited because Orgy was playing.
Yeah.
And so the top part is there. So there's 2 floors, and our favorite Batcave was on the bottom floor. So we went down there.
Yeah, their vibe and scene is just
love
cool.
it. The people, everything, everyone's cool. Missed Orgy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wanted to.
So we were down there having such a good time at the Batcave section,
dancing and everything.
Yeah, it was great. And that we missed. I
thought they would say something.
And we're both big Orgy fans.
I love Orgy. Yeah, I was so disappointed.
That was the only thing that was bad. Everything else was great.
I mean, it was bad, but because it was so cool, it didn't ruin anything because it was just fun.
The ball took place at the Globe Theater.
Global Theater.
in downtown Los Angeles. I would say 85% of the people there were dressed.
Oh, yeah.
And as vampires, and the people who weren't dressed as vampires were dressed as kind of sexy gothy things. So
or Victorian.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. If you're a vampire guy, I mean, I am actually a vampire. Jane, I know this is about me, but I'm actually a vampire. So like, this was legit. This was like a legit scene. Like, it was super cool, and the crowd was very, very nice. Count Von Count was there, which I love. He's, to me, the OG goth. Like, I loved the Count from Sesame Street before I even knew what goth was. So.
That was a cool concept.
Yeah, it was really, really great. And we had an amazing time.
Yeah, so they always put on great events.
Yeah, if you live in the Los Angeles area, there's so many horror and Halloween adjacent kind of cosplay events that are well worth looking into, and they're really, really fun.
Batcave's the best one, though.
Yeah, it's funny because you know how after Halloween, everyone always puts those memes like, oh, no, I'm waiting 365 days for Halloween to start again. Like, dude, if you know where to look, Halloween can be every other month. Yeah. Like every month or every other month, with places like Batcave and these awesome theme events that we go to as well in LA.
Another date night spot that we go to probably almost weekly is Phantom Carriage.
Oh yeah, Phantom Carriage
which is really cool. So it's a horror themed bar. And it's really cool because it's very close to where we live, which is great. And it's like in this really interesting spot because it's in this industrial spot.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden away. It's like a microbrew type place.
Yeah. And it's in this warehouse. And it's oh my god, but you walk in there and it's so cool. So all the walls are most of the walls are chalkboard walls, so there's horror drawings on them, and Enzo even drew on one of the walls, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's an honor to be up on that wall.
And it has a theater where they have different movies playing. And then our favorite bartender, Ellie, she's so cool because every time we go there and they have a movie playing, she dresses like the character of the movie, which is super
she dresses
cool.
in costume. So it's like, one of my friends went there a couple of years ago, and he's like, you got to go to this bar. It's like, it was designed for you. Yeah. So this past birthday, Jaina asked me, what do you want to do? And I'm like, oh, let's go to that Phantom Carriage place. And ever since, we haven't stopped going. Yeah. Because the beer is fantastic.
The food's good.
It's microbrew beer, and it's so good. And the food is fantastic. It's like bar food, but it's actually well made, like really good.
And it's only beer and wine.
Very affordable as well
very
for
affordable.
What you get. And then you're just constantly inundated with horror and horror culture. And then the music they play is really good, a mix between metal and punk, goth, alternative, like everything is great about it. It's just, the staff is super friendly and super professional and awesome.
And they do drink and paint nights. And
drink and paint nights. Horror trivia nights. They even have a Shining room. It's like this little lounge that's painted all in the theme of The Shining. Yeah. I mean, if you're a horror person, you have to check out Phantom Carriage.
It's so much fun.
It is amazing. I sort of don't want too many people to know about it.
I know, because it already gets packed as it is.
It's becoming like my fortress of solitude at this point.
For real.
It's like, we love it. We go there every week.
Yeah, and it does get busy.
Yeah. And then I've been able to, like as Reina mentioned, they let me
after I kept bugging.
Draw on the walls, and it's so much fun to do it, and it's an honor because I love that place.
It's cool. You have to post it because they've posted it on their Instagram.
Yeah, it's cool.
Look for them on Instagram, Phantom Carriage.
Yeah. Okay, so before we start our feature review, I want to do this thing I'm calling a rapid review catch up.
Okay.
So we're going to quickly review the movies that we saw between this break where we haven't been recording.
Them all? Okay.
I have a list of them.
Okay. It's been a lot.
But we're gonna do it Date Night Horror Show style, which means make out, marry, or meh.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So If any of you repeat listeners, you've probably heard us play this. It's our version of Death. What is it? Mary. What is it? F, Marry, Kill.
F, Marry, Kill.
But it's kind of relationship related because it suits our show. And
but
it's called Make Out, Marry, or Meh.
And remind everyone what that means.
So yeah. So for these movies that I'm going to bring up, the ones we've seen during this break, make out means, yeah, this is worth seeing. This is worth seeing once.
Tongue and all.
At least. Okay? Marry means this is a new classic. It's worth owning. Marry it. And meh means not worth seeing. Don't waste your time. Okay?
Okay.
So you ready to go?
Yes. Hopefully I remember them all. Okay.
Okay.
It's time to play Make Out, Marry, or Meh.
The first movie we saw was one we'd been dying to see, and we finally got to see it because it was on video on demand, is The Lighthouse. With Willem Dafoe and...
Rob Pattinson or whatever.
Yeah, right. The new Batman. So, if you had to choose, what would it be?
Make Out.
Yeah, I think I would choose that too. It's teetering on the edge of Mary because there's some visual moments in it that I really, really liked. Again, this is another film that is extremely visual, and
yeah, it is.
It's worth seeing just for that.
It's trippy.
I don't know if it's a classic in terms of horror. I think it's a really good independent film, and it's very visual. But I think I'd agree with you, Reyna. I think for me, it's a make out.
See me, and it teeters between Meh and Make Out.
Okay.
It seemed a little long to me, but visually, you're right. It is really good, and I like that it was kind of trippy.
And Willem Dafoe is great.
I don't get to say my opinion?
Yeah.
I'm just going to be like...
Sorry.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
I forgot about this part.
Well, that's the whole thing is a rapid review.
You gave your long-winded review.
I miss doing the show with you. All right. The next one is the Rabbid remake by the Soska sisters. We saw this on video on demand. It's available on video on demand right now.
I would actually give that one a Make Out.
Make Out?
Yeah.
Just once? You think it's worth seeing just once?
Maybe twice, but I don't know if I'd see it more than that. But
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was entertaining. I don't know if I wouldn't classify it as a classic or anything.
Yeah.
But I thought it was entertaining, and it had some good horror movie, horror make it stop moments.
Yeah.
But yeah. What about you?
It's interesting. I really like the Soska sisters. I think they're so cool. They have a punk rockness, but then they also, in all their films, they have themes about women empowerment and kind of what women have to go through. This film definitely has all that, but then it's got a kind of a, independent schlockiness that they embrace as well. I think the practical makeup is really, really good in it.
It's really good.
Yeah. So they're such champions of horror and independent horror and women in horror. So for me, it's kind of between Make Out and Marry. Maybe at a good price, I'd pick it up. Like if it goes on sale.
I don't know if I'd watch it multiple times.
I think it's definitely worth watching at least once. So,
for sure.
So I'll lean it towards the Make Out like you did. Okay. The next one is Bliss. Again, we saw this on Shudder, but it's also available to rent as well. What do you think?
I have to give this one a Meh. Yeah, it kind of missed its mark. Like, it started out really good and interesting, but then, I don't know, it took like a turn somewhere. I don't even know where, to tell you the truth. It just, I don't know.
It's interesting because I feel sort of opposite. I felt like the main character is an artist, so she has to be kind of a brilliant person.
Yeah.
And she uses the F word every other word.
Yeah, you were bothered by a few things.
And I'm like, this dialogue should be much smarter. And visually, it's really interesting. And I think visually, it's very successful at what it's trying to do. But the dialogue, somebody should have helped them with the
The
dialogue.
horror parts were good. Like the visual horror parts were pretty good.
Oh yeah, there's a sort of decapitation. Well, I'll keep it as vague as that scene in there that's really realistic looking. Like I was like, whoa, it freaked me out.
Yeah. No, it was
so.
That part was good.
If you're a gore hound and you don't mind some kind of dopey dialogue, because there's some dopey dialogue.
It was.
Conceptually, it's interesting, but I felt like the dialogue was written by like a 12-year-old.
Well, like
and
trying to be hipster, but not mature hipster.
It wasn't written with a brain, unfortunately. No. The dialogue part, situation was interesting.
Yeah.
So it's getting a lot of buzz, but I think it could have been better.
Yeah, it's a meh for me for sure.
So for me, it's a makeout because the visual moments are interesting, but ultimately, I don't think I'd ever see it again.
Yeah.
So, okay. The next one is Zombieland Double-tap.
Makeout. Because first of all, I have to give my girl Rosario. Like, I love her. Mm-hmm. And the cast, all of them, I love the cast. Yeah. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
And
still a lot of spirit in it.
They work well together, and their chemistry is really good.
Yeah.
The chemistry between her and Woody was kind of scary, but I mean, it is what it is. It's Zombieland. It was campy. It was fun. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I think I'd marry this one.
Really?
Yeah,
I like the first one better, but
I like the first one better, for sure. But I think the second one still feels like a continuation of the story.
Yeah.
And there were some
it's a good date night movie.
I was reading early reviews for this before we rented it. And people were saying, it's not a horror movie anymore. It's not. The
first one wasn't that. I mean, it was still had the campiness.
Yeah. I felt like there was still enough horror cred. It had enough horror cred to it. There were some pretty nasty, gory scenes in it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still a very spirited zombie film. Like it's still trying to be a zombie movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just because
I was worried that I wouldn't see any zombies after reading those reviews from people. A lot
of zombies.
But I thought it was really fun, very tongue-in-cheek at times. I think it was trying to be more of a comedy this time around, which I don't have a problem with as long as the comedy succeeds, which I think it did. Totally. The new actress that plays the bubbly.
Oh my gosh,
she was hysterical. She was funny. So funny, and for her to be stealing scenes like that,
that's a big cast. Yeah,
pretty amazing. So for me, Double Tap, I would have to marry it. I think I will eventually own it. I don't own it.
I wouldn't be mad at you.
But, all right.
I wouldn't be mad at you for owning it.
Okay. Conversely, the next movie, rapid review, is The Dead Don't Die.
Meh. Even. Oh my god.
Wait, what happened?
Because I was looking forward to it because Bill Murray, and it had a lot of other great actors in it. And I was hoping it would be like Zombieland.
Yeah, the cast was insane.
Yeah.
Like there were so many people in
it.
Who was it? Let's see. Adam Driver was in it.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray was in it. Tilda Swinton was in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I had high hopes. I mean, Bill Murray, Chloe Sevigny, I never pronounced her name right, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover.
Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop's character was super cool. Yeah, I mean, it just had a lot of really cool people. Rosie Perez.
Yeah.
And I love Carol Kane. Oh my God, she's so funny.
So the director, Jim Jarmusch, he did a Iggy and the Stooges documentary that I love called
really?
Give Me Danger. Yeah.
Oh.
And I think that's why Iggy Pop was in the movie.
Oh.
He plays a zombie. He's fucking awesome. He looks so cool.
Awesome as a zombie.
He looks super cool.
Really cool as a zombie.
And I have to tell you, if you're an Iggy and the Stooges fan, Give Me Danger is such a thorough and awesome documentary. Yeah. I don't think this worked as a zombie film. I don't think it even worked as a comedy either.
He tried to do something different, and I'm not gonna give it away, for those who still want to see it. Which could have been interesting. It just didn't. It was messy.
Yeah.
The story was messy.
I found it really unsatisfying, both from a comedy and horror standpoint.
Oh, for sure.
It didn't quite get there.
No.
What I would say is the zombies looked great. And then especially zombie celebrities, like seeing Iggy Pop as a zombie. When did you think you'd ever see that?
There were more stylized zombies, I feel like.
Yeah.
But they were still cool.
I think the overall film and comedy was stylized as well. You'll see when you see it. But for me,
didn't work.
I'd have to give it a meh, unfortunately. And I was really rooting for it as well.
Too.
And I was excited to see it.
Remember, I kept bugging. I wanted to see it.
But it didn't quite work out for me.
No.
Okay.
It's unfortunate.
Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is In Fabric. This is a really strange film.
I would actually say Makeout. I'm sorry, Mary.
Oh, you never cease to amaze me.
I would say Mary.
It
was fucking weird. It was so cool.
Okay.
It was so weird.
This movie is totally in my wheelhouse. I love Italian horror, and this felt like an homage.
Very much so.
Yeah, to the Giallo films. It was super, super weird.
It was weird.
Imagine Suspiria, like a Suspiria sort of thing, but with fashion designers. And these witch kind of fashion designers. They design these dresses
weird
that mess people up and kind of possess them. It is a very, very strange and creepy film.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked it. Super spirited in its uniqueness. It's not super gory or super scary. It's more a kind of horror movie that makes you feel strange, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
You know me. I like things as weird as possible. So I would recommend In Fabric, and for me, it would be a Mary. I'm going to eventually own that one too. So.
Yeah, I would definitely say Mary, just because it is really weird, but it's a good weird.
Yeah.
You're right. There aren't a lot of horror, like the whole, elements, but strange. I don't know. But it worked.
Semi-erotic, but not really erotic, like more disturbing. No. Like it's a great film. Yeah, it's really, good. Really weird.
Highly recommend it. Where do we see that on?
Yeah. We rented it
Prime, right?
on Amazon. Yeah. So it's available. I'm sure it'll get on Shudder at some point. It seems like a Shudder kind of film.
Total Shudder
as well.
Film, yeah.
So, okay. The last two are horror series.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first one is the new Dracula series on Netflix. Make Out, Marry, or May. Are you serious?
The Dracula?
Yeah.
That was awful.
Okay. All right. So.
And I love a good Dracula story, but that was painful.
Okay. So for me, the first two episodes I really loved because they reminded me of Hammer horror, which I grew up loving the Hammer films. And at one point, Jane, I was like, this guy's not good looking enough to be. And I'm like, he looks like Christopher Lee, means? Babe. I'm like, he looks like Christopher Lee. They're paying an homage to Christopher Lee. And then I showed her the two actors next to each other, and she's like, oh my God, they do look alike.
They do, but Christopher Lee was still
better looking.
Yeah. And this dude was crusty.
Yeah. So.
And if you know what fail means, fail equals ugly. So no, did not work.
She didn't think he was good looking enough. I thought
not to be Dracula.
I thought he played the role really well. Like he had the poise. He had the poise. He had the charisma. Yeah. I'm not a woman, so I can't tell if he's good looking enough. To me, I kept thinking he looks like Christopher Lee, so it's kind of cool. And the first two episodes remind me a lot of Hammer horror, which I really liked. The last episode, because it's a 3-parter, went a little too modern for my taste. I'm going to keep it that vague.
And he was creepy and not in a good way.
So for me, I'm going to have to go with a Makeout. You should at least watch it once. It's not a classic for me, so I can't say Mary. And it wasn't meh. Only maybe the last episode was meh. So.
It was meh. Only watch it if you're bored.
Okay. So the last and final one is also another series, and it's not technically over yet, but I figured I'd throw it in there. The Outsider series on HBO, based on the Stephen King novel.
Yeah, it's the.
What do you think so far?
Well, so far I'm gonna say, Makeout.
Yeah, it's at least make out. What I've
we'll
seen
see.
so far, I've liked. We're close to the end.
We're close to the end. I think there's like a couple more episodes left. Yeah.
What I would say is it feels a little drawn out at this point. For the
They're
amount of
stretching it
content.
out a little bit. Yeah.
They're trying to make it series size, which they're padding it a bit, which I'm not a huge fan of, but there's definitely enough creepy moments in there to warrant at least a make out for me. So
yeah, I would agree. And the actors in it are really good.
very good
really
cast,
good
very good production.
Really impressed with Jason Bateman because he directs it.
Yeah.
And so far, yeah, I would say that. It just depends how they conclude it. Because sometimes it can take a really bad turn. But so far, yeah, I would say make out.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Okay. Are you ready for the feature review?
Yes.
Cool. Let's do it.
And now, our feature review.
Okay, it's time for our feature review of The Invisible Man by Blum House.
2020.
Yeah.
All right, so the synopsis is when Cecile's abusive ex takes his own life and leaves his fortune, she suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of coincidences turn lethal, Cecilia works to prove that she is being hunted by someone nobody can see. Ooh.
Can I say something right now? It's kind of been a while. Since I've seen a horror film in the movie theater that I felt was a complete slam dunk. And maybe I just spoiled the review too quickly, but I thought this movie was awesome and super fun. And it has a really good emotional roller coaster to it. It starts off almost slightly slow burn, and gets the sense of dread in there, and then it just picks up and it turns into a roller coaster ride. I thought the film was fantastic.
I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't really feel the slow burn because I feel like I'm kind of sensitive to it. Because I mean, even the opening.
Maybe I can explain that a little bit.
Yeah.
So we watch a lot of horror movies, and sometimes these modern horror films, they get stuck in a sense of dread loop and they never get out of it. So the first portion of the film, there's a lot of sense of dread.
That's true.
And I thought, oh no, they're going to stay here. They're going to stay at this. And then you're like, holy, did you see what just happened? Like,
yeah,
the film multiple times smacks you in the face.
It does.
With brutality and violence. And so once those moments happen, I'm like, okay, this wants to be a horror film.
Yeah.
Which I thoroughly appreciate, especially being a fan of the original.
Well, the director, Lee Winnell, he did Saw. He did the Insidious movies. So he's a horror dude.
No wonder. He must be... Is he James Wan's protege? He's probably... Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, he did Aquaman. But...
yeah, he works with James Wan, probably.
Yeah. So, I mean... He knows horror. He's done some pretty good horror movies.
Yeah.
But I thought Elizabeth Moss, I really like her. I think she's one of the best actresses that can really evoke a lot of emotion on her face. I think that's why they always do the close-ups on her.
Yeah.
Because she just really brings it with not having to say any dialogue.
Yeah. She has a very offbeat likability. Sort of like Jeff Goldblum has an offbeat likability. She's like the female version of that. And it's so funny because like I'll start watching things with her in it and then I'll be like, oh my God, she totally has me in the palm of her hand. Like she's just so... She's really good. You empathize with her quite a bit. You're always on her side.
Yeah.
I thought the film was really inventive for an Invisible Man film. I
liked what they did with it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these kinds of films. I've seen comedic versions of The Invisible Man, the one with Chevy Chase. You know, I've seen all the different ones. Hollow Man, of course.
Yeah.
Verhoeven's Hollow Man. And this film felt really, really fresh to me.
Yeah,
It brought
definitely.
a lot of new things, which we'll talk about in the spoiler zone.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about them more in depth because they really broke convention. But it felt super, super fresh. And one of the things I like to do when I'm in the movie theater, I like to get a sense of the audience and see how they're enjoying it. And people were clapping and cheering.
Yeah.
Currently, it has a 90 Metacritic, or a 90, not Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah. It was good.
It's awesome that it's doing really well. And I know it had a big weekend.
That's good.
Money-making wise.
Because horror movies get the shaft so much.
Yeah. I remember halfway through this movie when it really started to pick up, I thought to myself, I really hope this movie does well.
Yeah.
Right now we have the coronavirus, and then it's been raining in LA, which is weird. But people were in the theater, you know.
It looked sold out almost.
Yeah, it looked sold out, and again, it had a strong weekend.
I'm glad it did, because the theater we saw it in was kind of small.
Yeah.
So that worried me a little bit.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about it is, from a female perspective, this felt like a version of the story that was very female centric. Mm-hmm. Like, how did you feel about that? Like, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, so there's a lot I want to say in our spoiler, because I don't want to give anything away.
Just keep it general, and then we'll go into the spoiler.
But yeah, I liked that. I like that it had a strong female presence in it.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, and there's more I want to explore in our spoiler on that.
Okay.
So some things that I really liked about it in the context of the storyline.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss plays very vulnerable very well, and also strong very well.
Yeah.
So she was the right person to play the role.
And I like how she's never overly slick either. Like, in any of her roles, she's the common woman, you know, and she embraces that. And she even has a moment in the film, a vulnerable moment, where she kind of says things to that effect that I thought she did with so much sensitivity and kind of rawness.
Yeah.
That I think that's when I feel like that monologue, the entire audience was with her after she said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the film is just smart enough to get its point across without being overly preachy or, you know, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an incredibly effective thrill ride as well. So, yeah, I give it a big thumbs up. So
I give it a big thumbs up too.
I don't think I've enjoyed a movie in the theater this much since Us. No, since Midsummer. I love Midsummer.
I would say Us, because you all know how I feel about
she
Midsummer.
didn't like Midsummer as much, but yeah, I thought it was. You go see it if you can see it in the theater. It's worth it.
It was fun. It's also another good date night movie. It was because it's just one of those really enjoyable, fun horror movies.
Yeah, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. I really, really liked it.
I liked it
too.
too.
It was great. Okay, do you think we're ready to go to the spoiler zone?
Yeah,
because I really want to talk more in depth about this one.
For sure.
All right, let's go.
Beware. Spoilers ahead.
Okay, we're safe now. Now we can kind of express our thoughts a little deeper in the spoiler zone. Anyone who's here, you've seen the film, so we're going to spoil stuff. If you haven't, fast forward to a few minutes down the road. Okay, what do you want? Sorry, what do you want to say?
Mansplaining. Yeah. So I think what I was talking about as far as your question about the women lead or whatever you were saying. Mm-hmm. What I liked about it was clearly she was a woman who had been abused, but they didn't punch you in the face with that stuff. Like it wasn't, you know, some movies, they show it, but it's like really tedious and it's like, I don't know. It takes too long to get to her escaping.
Yeah.
I like that that's how it started.
Yeah, that was great. It was a very elegant way of starting a film with tension.
Right.
And it's not necessarily like she's being chased by a guy with a knife or anything. It's more she's just trying to get away and have a life.
Yeah.
You know? I thought it was really good. And I think these things happen.
Yeah.
And, the psychological control that the husband, that she talks about, the way he's been with her forever. I thought it captured it really, really well.
It really did.
I think she was intentionally playing the role kind of mousy at the beginning. And I feel like she goes on this journey where she's just like, I'm just a victim trying to get away. I'm just a victim trying to get my life back together. But at a certain point, she's like, fuck this.
Well, yeah, because it was like, come on, this dude invented a fucking invisible suit. Like, can't get away from him.
She's like, I gotta stop this piece of shit.
Yeah,
like,
and then
great.
he incorporated the brother. Like, she was up against two psychos.
I think that's one of the things that I felt was extremely clever about the film.
Yeah.
The fact that he had developed a suit.
I like that about it.
Yeah, because then it makes the power interchangeable between different people, and we all know that was a big part of the story. But what was really clever about it is that you didn't know how he was becoming invisible until she dumps the paint on him. Right. And when she dumps the paint on him, I looked at you and I'm like, he's wearing something. Yeah. And because I saw the surface and I'm like, what's he wearing? He's wearing like a suit. And I remember years and years ago reading something about how they're working on camouflage that does pretty much what this does. And that's why there's cameras on either side. And the way it works is the cameras that are behind you will project the image in front of you. The camera in front of you will project the image behind you, in turn making you invisible. Right. So when I saw those little camera lenses, I was like, wow, they researched this well. Yeah. This is more plausible. And I also like the fact that you couldn't blame the drug for his behavior. Right. He was a selfish, controlling prick. Yeah. Before he became invisible. And I really like that. I think that makes it a stronger villain. Oh yeah. More dangerous. Yeah. I found that really, really clever, and it breaks a ton of convention.
I keep thinking about the sister. The sister kill.
Oh my God, that was so shocking. I was like, what am I saying? And then the sister's doing the same thing. She's like, why is that knife floating? Like that was crazy. Super, super effective and super well done. Or the moment where he punches her friend's daughter.
Oh my God, I know.
And then it made me realize it's like, if you do one really bizarre thing, if I went into work tomorrow not wearing pants, people would be like, oh my God, he's crazy. Yeah. And they would treat me different from then on. And I feel like, a relationship with someone is very, very fragile. Once you start doing weird shit like that, of course, everyone's perception of you changes. Yeah. And I think that's what was so effective about the film.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. What I like about it was I wasn't sure what to expect because I've seen the classic Invisible Man. Yeah. And all the other ones you mentioned. Uh-huh. But I guess I was thinking more along the lines of that Invisible Man, the more classic one. Yeah. So then I was pleasantly, because I don't watch, you all know this, I don't watch trailers or anything, don't read anything, I don't want to know anything. Yeah. So I really liked that it was a modern take on the Invisible Man.
Yes. Universal, this is the way. Yeah. Like The Mandalorian, this is the way. Do this kind of stuff, work with Blum House, give them time to develop the story. This is the way. You don't need to have Tom Cruise in The Mummy. You don't need stuff like that. You need really, really clever, well thought out, spirited, but still horror. Yeah. Still horror. In fact, that was one of the things I was pleasantly surprised about the film was when it starts off, I'm like, oh, this is going to go into thriller country. It's going to be a thriller. It's not going to go much further than that.
I've had people ask me that. Is it more as horror or more thriller?
I feel like it's the skeleton of a thriller,
Yeah.
but there are straight visceral horror moments.
For sure.
And that to me is why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
You know, the scene where the sister gets her throat slit, the scenes of various people being physically attacked by the Invisible Man are so visceral and violent.
Yeah.
And well done.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The scenes with Elizabeth Moss, when she's being dragged around the living room, at first I kind of felt bad for her because she was trying to fight back. But then I thought to myself, this is a small woman.
Yeah.
Like, this is how she would fight back. And then when he fights other people, like more able-bodied people, you know, they fight back the way they would fight back. So I thought it was incredibly effective in all those areas.
Yeah.
And I think Invisible Man films can get insanely gimmicky. You know, like, oh, look at me drinking water. Look at how you can... Do you know, like that sort of bullshit?
Yeah.
And it gets kind of silly, becomes a parlor trick. And I felt like this film walked that line so well.
I agree with you.
And the scenes that were the most effective for me were the scenes where she thinks he's in the room and you're not quite sure if he is,
Yeah.
but her gut tells her that he is.
Yeah.
You know, how scary. It's like
Super scary.
yeah, it's like being in the mind of a schizophrenic who thinks some demon's in the room or whatever.
Yeah.
That was so refreshing and different.
It was really well done.
And that, to me, made it so much more interesting than a rehash of the standard Invisible Man tropes.
For sure.
You know, fantastic.
Yeah. I was a little worried about that it was going to be that way. So I was really happy to see that it was, like I said, a more modern version of it. And I like that the elements that were there didn't hit you on the head, like overly, like the showing her being beaten up or psychologically tortured in her before life. And then also, of course, she gets pregnant and it's not that weird, like how she got pregnant kind of thing. Like it just was.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, the other stuff was more, you know, a bigger part of the story.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought it was really, really clever and well thought out.
Yeah.
And very satisfying. You know, you can watch something that might be clever, you know, or well put together, but then it's not quite as satisfying from just a moviegoer standpoint. And I felt like this walked that line so well. Yeah, I think the only complaint I would have is there were a couple of moments where the suit is flicking in and out of visibility, and it felt a little too CG. But I think that's just my taste. But I would rather have a great horror film experience that's written well and acted well and has a couple of glitchy CG effects than really slick CG effects and no good actors or no good story.
Right.
So that's it.
I didn't see that. I didn't notice that part, but
Yeah.
yeah. But I really, you guys go see it, and also tell us what you think if you have gone to see it. What your opinion is, but I would definitely recommend it. And yes, I would recommend it in the theater. My BFF Tanya asked me that. I'm happy to say they went to go see it.
Yeah.
I told her, yes, definitely go see it in the theater.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I thought it was great. I hope Elizabeth Moss does another Blum House thing. I think she's really, really great in horror. I thought she was great in Us.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, Handmaid's Tale, I sort of consider a horror series.
It totally is.
But yeah, I thought she was so super cool, and I'm so glad the film had a really good opening weekend.
Yeah, me too.
This is the way, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This is how you do a dark universe. You know, really great. Yeah, I loved it.
Cool.
All right, so that's it for our feature review. Just a couple. I wanted to throw just a couple little things at you before we sign off.
Okay.
This is the second year of our podcast. And I just wanted to ask you so far, like, what have you liked? What have you not liked about doing the podcast? Like, is there a favorite episode? Is there like, what have you gotten from it?
Well, I think my favorite part is obviously doing this with you.
Oh,
I do.
yeah.
I like it because it's, not that we don't spend a lot of time together, but it's something creative that we're doing together.
Yeah.
So I really love that part. And we do legitimately watch a lot of horror movies anyway. Yeah. So it's fun to kind of talk more in depth about them.
Yeah.
I love when we argue because it's funny and fun.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that I'm a diva, and when I want to record, I want to record.
Yeah, and I'm more methodical because I like to edit them and make sure it's as good as possible. It sounds as good as possible.
I totally get it because I just do this. I don't do any of the editing or anything. But yeah.
Yeah, and we're in the future. We're hoping to be able to regiment our time so we can consistently have episodes out. In fact, Jaina came up with the idea for the next episode. Do you want to tell people about what you're thinking in that regard?
It's Terror at Sea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically, we're going to be on a cruise ship next week.
Yep.
And it's, if you've been following the news, about the whole coronavirus, we're going to be leaving from Texas, going to Mexico, the Cancun area. So that area hasn't been affected. So we're hoping we're going to be okay.
We'll be fine.
But Jaina had this great idea of saying, hey, why don't we take our microphones and why don't we record a Terror at Sea episode on the ocean?
Yes.
Which I think is a fucking great idea. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about our absolute favorite horror or ocean-themed horror movies, which there are a ton.
There's a ton.
So I'm super excited about that.
That'll be fun.
And that'll be our next episode.
We could have our own horror movie brewing on the ship too. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, and we can let you know what it's like to be on a cruise ship during all this bullshit.
It'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm going to have Purell with me the whole time. We're going to have to wear our like gothic industrial like face masks.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to all the people who've continued to listen to the show.
Thank you. Gracias.
Our listenership hasn't really gone down. I think people are catching up with our previous episodes. Shout out to our friend Karina who said, hey, I went through all your episodes. I'm waiting for new episodes.
Oh, thanks, Karina.
Thank you for listening, Karina. And thank you for everyone who's continued to listen to the show. Again, follow us on Instagram. We're Date Night Horror Show there. On Twitter, we're Date_horror. On Facebook, we're The Date Night Horror Show. And most importantly, our main website, thedatenighthorrorshow.com. You can listen to all our episodes, find all our links there. And in a new added surprise, we now have Date Night Horror Show official merchandise.
Woohoo!
We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have coffee cups, we even have bath towels. And they're all really well made.
Yeah.
And
the shirts
really
are
cheap.
awesome because it's the thin material. It's not those nasty thick shirts.
Yeah, everything is priced as low as I can price it.
Yeah.
Really, really inexpensive, but really, really well made.
Yeah. So if you do get our merch, please post a picture with you either wearing it or drinking from it.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you again so much for continuing to follow our show.
Yes.
And following us on any of the different podcast services that you use.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yes. And don't forget, post movies we should be watching if we haven't mentioned them.
Yeah,
We're always looking for new ones.
Cool. Well, I think that's it for the first episode of 2020.
Woohoo.
Much more to come.
Did it, babe.
Cool.
Scare you later.
The Date Night Horror Show is written and produced by Enzo and Reyna. All music written and produced by Enzo. Find Enzo and Reyna online at thedatenightHorrorshow.com. Do you Share it with your horror-loving friends and help spread the word.